For Jon LaFleur, it wasn't some gimmicky slogan that you see on a Nike t-shirt. It was truly his Bishop Heelan athletic experience. He was a four-sport star, a true jack of all trades. He was exactly what each coach needed at the time they needed him. While at Heelan, he earned the 1993 Sioux City Journal Athlete of the Year, and it wasn't because of one sport. Jon was a 3-year starter on the gridiron and named first team all-conference and first team all-state twice. Following his senior season, he was named Defensive Player of the Game in the historic Iowa Shrine Bowl. When football season was over, he transitioned to basketball and was a major contributor to the basketball program. That included a state tournament run in 1992. In track and field, Jon was a 2-time state shot put champion and was inducted to the Sioux City Relays Hall of Fame in 2014. On the baseball diamond, he was a 3-year starter who accumulated a 16-3 record as a starting pitcher over 4 letter-winning seasons. Upon graduation, he followed in his father's footsteps and accepted a scholarship to join the University of Iowa football program. He would go on to letter 4 times at Iowa and was named team captain in 1997. His play would earn him honorable mention, all Big Ten accolades. When his playing days ended, he returned home and currently can be found on the sidelines of Memorial Field as the 11th head football coach in Bishop Heelan history. Presenting Jon tonight is a former coach, Dave Fravel.
Hello, my name is Dave Fravel, and it is my privilege to introduce Jon LaFleur as a member of our inaugural class for the Heelan High School Hall of Pride. I've had the opportunity to know Jon as a middle school student, first gracing the fields of Heelan High School on both football and baseball. And at that point in time, we, the coaching staff, the members of Heelan High School, could see we had a special young man there. Jon excelled for us every season that he had an opportunity to compete for us. As a baseball player, Jon in 1993 was on the All-Western League team. He was first team as a utility player in both the catching and pitching positions. He was the Iowa High School Baseball Coaches Association All-District. He was first team pitcher. He was first team All-State as a utility. And for Heelan High School, he was the outstanding hurler and at one time one of the top 5 in our pitching wins. He excelled in baseball, and from what I've heard recently, at a time he was trying to make a decision as to whether or not he wanted to compete in baseball or in football, although as we all know, football seemed to win out on that one. The sport that I had the privilege of coaching Jon in was track. Jon was a 3-time state qualifier. He was a multiple SIC championship shot putter, multiple city titles that he had. At the state meet, Jon would not allow himself to be beaten. He may have had a shorter throw in a prelim, but he always managed to end up bringing out the best within the finals and ended up winning 2 state titles for us in track. Football is where we all know of Jon and Jon's abilities. He was a 3-year starter for us. He went from being an 8th grade football player, and after his last football game, the next football game he had, after missing his freshman year due to injury, he's playing against Des Moines Dowling down at Memorial Field. He was a 3-time state qualifier. In 1991, he played on the Heelan state runner-up team. He was all Metro from 90, 91, and 92 football seasons. SIC, all conference, same years. All Northwest Iowa. He was all-state elite in football in 91 and 92. One thing about Jon LaFleur, not only as an outstanding athlete, was his competitive nature and the drive that he had. He would be just as good, just as strong in the fourth quarter as he was in the first quarter. or the 7th inning or the opening pitch. And for me, it was a function of in the shot put. He would save whatever he needed at the end. If he needed that extra 2 inches, 3 inches, a half a foot to compete. When he was on his biggest stages, that's when he was at his best. So for the young man who happens to share the same birthday as I do, I would like to congratulate Jon LaFleur on his induction into Heelan's inaugural class of Hall of Fame athletes and coaches, and wish him well as the other representatives of Heelan High School. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jon LaFleur.
Well, following up Don is going to be tough. I am not as charismatic as he is by any means. First off, I want to thank the committee for selecting me. It's a great honor, honestly, and it's not something that I take lightly. I wrote a speech. I don't know if I can see it that well, so I'll try to go along as best I can. But I want to thank you, John, Coach Beard, Dr. Flannery, Dave. I know Dave's out here somewhere. I think I saw him earlier. Thank you very much for your nice introduction, and I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. So I'm very honored to be here with all the other current electees. Humbled to be here, to be with a Super Bowl winner, to be with a Major League Baseball player, some of the finest athletes that Heelan has had. Carly Tritz, Carly Berger, she's out here. She's probably the finest women's athlete I've ever witnessed. It was someone that my daughters emulated growing up. It's humbling to be with included in those, because I frankly don't feel like I really belong. But I'd like to also thank my wife, Kate. She's been a big supporter of me we met at Heelan. And I guess what I would like to say is Heelan is a very integral part of my life. My mom and dad met there, Dan and Debbie. I'd like to thank them, obviously. I thank them for everything that I had in my life. Thank them for sending me to Heelan High School to provide a Catholic education to me. It took a lot of guts to do such a thing. They were there, they did it themselves. It was great for myself, obviously, it turned out, and it was an opportunity also for me to send my kids there. It was never a thought that we would send my daughters anywhere else. I have 4 daughters. I want to thank them for coming here as well. Abby, Emma, Lauren, and Maddie. 2 of them are already alumni. One will soon be this year, and another one's a sophomore. So, I'm not going to talk a long time, because this is not my cup of tea by any means whatsoever. I want to apologize also for not giving you a win last night. That's something that we got to work on a little bit better. But I would like to also thank my coaches that I had at Heelan, and as you saw, I had the opportunity to play multiple sports. Coaches that had a direct impact on me in football were Joe Malson, Roger Jansen, Max Duvall. Basketball, Doug Moody, Joe Burkhardt, John O'Brien as a freshman. In track, Dave Frabel, Andy Ness, and then in baseball, Nick Archer. All those guys, whether it be positive or negative, had a direct impact on my athletic endeavors, and I'm very grateful for the time they spent. And now, as Heelan's head coach, I recognize and understand the amount of time and effort that they put in. And I also recognize what the tradition that they need to uphold, and that they did uphold, is. And it runs deep. And if I can somehow find a way to make that, to pass that on to our players that we currently have, that would be something that I would be very proud program. We're struggling the past couple of years, but we're trending in the right direction. And a lot of it has to do with how we're trying to do it, doing it the right way, the Heelan way, and incorporating things that all of you have done